A very good afternoon to all the students who are present today to attend the online lecture for second year BCom semester 3 for the subject management. I, Professor Shivangi Sethi, warmly welcome one and all. Now, in the previous lecture of management, I had already given you an idea, an overview about the syllabus structure of management, along with all the different topics that have to be covered for the same. In today's lecture, without further discussion, we would begin with the very first unit that talks on contemporary issues in human resource management. Before we begin with the discussion and the explanation of the topics, have a look at all the different things to be covered in the unit. I had already talked about it in the previous lecture as well. So you need to go through with the introduction, that is introduction of HRM. What do you mean by HRM and what are its objectives? And as the name of the unit suggests, you have to understand some contemporary issues in human resource management, some challenges for HRM, out of which we shall be studying the first one today, that is sexual harassment. So as I said, your syllabus, your unit 1 and unit 2 focuses more on a resource and its management, that is human resource management. Before I actually begin with explaining you what is HRM or we begin to understand the concept of it, let me first start with the basics. In HRM, if you see, the alphabet R stands for resource. So can you think about what do you mean by a resource? Or what are the resources meant for? I can give you a simple example that resources could be anything that makes your task easy. It could be anything that is useful to you, beneficial to you, to make something, to do something. Could be a natural resource provided to us by nature, could be a man-made resource made by man itself, could be a physical resource that you can see, you can touch, maybe a machinery, maybe land and building, or could also be financial resource such as money. But why does human resource play an important role in an organization? So we are first going to study as to what do you mean by HR? What is human resource in an organization? Human resources are considered to be very valuable for every business unit. A business may be having machinery, maybe having raw materials, maybe having capital for production. But if it does not have skilled and efficient manpower or human resource, will the other resources be of any use? The answer is no. You need to have a skilled, efficient human resource to make use of the other resources optimally. So then what does this HR constitute? So human resource could be any person who is working in the organization. Could be from the lower level, could be from the middle level or the top level of an organization. But each and every person working therein comprises an HR. Not only this, the skills, the abilities, the talents that these people constitute forms a part of HR. So you can go through the definition of human resource. It means the total knowledge, skills, creative abilities, talents, aptitudes of an organization's workforce, as well as the value, attitudes, and beliefs of the individuals involved. So, as I said, every individual and their collective knowledge, skills, abilities, talents combined together becomes the human resource for any organization. And it goes without saying that human resource is the most valuable asset for any business organization. Having studied the basics, now comes the question, that is the topic, what is human resource management? Now, you already might have heard about the word management, and human resource you just learned. So you have to combine both the words together. Simply, if I can say, management of human resource is nothing but human resource management. It is also known as people management. But what do you mean by management, students? Management basically you consider as the art and the science of getting the things done through the efforts of others. This is a very typical definition, but management has more to it. You have learned about different managerial functions also. Could be planning, organizing, directing, staffing, controlling, and whatnot. So when you apply those principles onto the human resource, it becomes your HRM. You may be familiar about the fact that every business organization now holds a separate department for human resource known as the human resource department. And we have human resource managers who manage the human resource. So then what actually are these people doing while performing human resource management? So here comes the answer. Human resource management is basically acquiring the human resources, maintaining the human resources in an organization. Not only that, even developing the human resources by giving them proper training and to utilize them in such a manner that the objectives are achieved. But pay your keen attention when I say objectives, we are considering not only the organizational objectives, but also the objectives of an individual employee. His personal goals are also taken care of. So, to make it more clear, please read the definition that you see on the slide. HRM can be defined as the process of accomplishing organizational objectives by acquiring, that is, procuring the human resources, retaining, that is, maintaining them. We may also have to terminate them in case they don't abide by the laws and the rules of the business, developing them, that is, giving them proper training, ultimately, properly using them also. So it is nothing but the modern version of personal management, meaning to say HRM is modern, where we consider the skills of employees also. We consider the goals of employee as well. So I hope by now you are clear with what do you mean by human resource and what do you mean by human resource management. Moving further, to understand the concept of HRM, you also have to understand as to why HRM is important or why is it taken care of in every organization. So when an organization works for effective and efficient management of human resources, these are some of the benefits that it can gain. So imagine a situation where your human resources are acquired properly, scientifically. When I say scientifically, we are procuring the right person for the right job at the right time. We are also working for maintaining the human resources in the organization, meaning to say they should not leave your organization in the long term. You are also working for the development of human resources, that is, developing their skills. Not only that, you keep them motivated by fulfilling their personal goals as well. So, what can be the advantages of such a scenario, such a situation? So, number one, it will increase the productivity in the organization. Maybe in lesser time duration and with lesser number of employees, more production can be created. So it will increase the profit, the growth, ultimately the value of the firm in the market will increase. Number two, it leads to enhanced company image. That is, the image, the prestige, the reputation, the goodwill of the firm increases. Ultimately, the customers tend to be satisfied. When you see an organization which is managing the HR, which is developing them, fulfilling their needs, definitely they work willingly, effectively for the organization. When the work is efficient, definitely the image of company will improve. Ultimately, the customers are satisfied with the work and with the products that they are using. Number three, healthy organizational climate and culture, that is through effective communication. When you have a satisfied workforce, you have a workforce whose skills are developed, whose goals are taken care of, they will definitely work very cordially for the organization. The disputes, the conflicts tend to get reduced. Ultimately, the climate, the culture in the organization becomes healthy. And number four, it tends to increase the competitiveness and the development orientation. When you have an organization that takes care of human resource, that manages them so very well, it will definitely be able to survive more in such a competitive business environment. Not only that, it will also lead to the further growth and development of the business. I hope you are clear with the importance of HRM. Moving further, so in the topic of HRM, you also need to understand what are the objectives of human resource management. When I say objectives, objective could be the purpose, the goal, why would we undertake human resource management? Laying down objectives is very important because they actually prove to be the benchmarks against which the actions are evaluated. Think about a situation where human resources are working without any objective in mind. It would be just as good as driving a car or sailing a boat without knowing the destination. So objectives needs to be emphasized on. If you see the HRM objectives, they are broadly classified into four different types. To begin with, number one, it is societal objectives or the social objectives. So one of the objective of HRM would be to see that the human resources working in the organization are ethically and socially responsible to the needs and the challenges of the society. The organization needs to use its resources for the society's benefits in ethical ways. That is, whatever work is done, it should not be against the safety standards of the society, should not create any form of discrimination, etc. So the ethics of the society have to be maintained. If the organization fails to do that, definitely it will lead to the failure of the organization. Number two, they are the organizational objectives. So, as I said, human resource management definitely works primarily for achievement of the objectives, goals of the organization as a whole. You need to keep one thing in mind, that HRM is not the end in itself, but it is means to achieve the end. HRM is actually helping, or it is the means through which the organizational goals can be achieved. Number three, the functional objectives. So when we talk about functional objectives, we are talking about the objective of an individual department who is performing some or the other function or activity. So even the departmental objectives have to be tailored and has to be consistent with the goals of organization as a whole. You will not be able to achieve the organizational goals if the functional goals are working in some another direction. Number four, personal objectives. As I said earlier also, HRM not just focuses on the organizational goals, but also pays keen attention to the personal, individual goals of an employee. So another objective of HRM would be to assist the employees, to help the employees in achieving their goals as well. Because then and then you can keep your employees maintained, retained, and motivated. If they are not taken care of, their problems and their goals are not considered, definitely their performance, the satisfaction level will decline. Ultimately, they would leave the organization. So, to give you a quick recap, we have understood as to what is human resource. We have understood what do you mean by the management of human resource, that is HRM. You understood why HRM is important. And lastly, you also understood the objectives of HRM. That is to say, it should be ethical towards the society. It has to work for the achievement of organizational goals, functional goals, and the personal goals of an employee. I hope you are clear with the first part of the chapter, that is the introduction to HRM, Human Resource Management. On this note, we begin with the next topic, probably the last topic for today's online lecture. Now, I showed you in the beginning that the name of the unit is Contemporary Issues in Human Resource Management. Out of the 5 to 6 issues that you are going to study, the first one that you see is sexual harassment. We are talking about the harassment of the male and the females working in the organization. That is to say, a workplace sexual harassment. So, to begin with, the meaning of the same, there is a definition that you can see by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which defines it to be the unwelcomed sexual attention. It could be verbal or it could be physical. That is, either it is verbal or non-verbal, that will affect the employee's job condition or creates hostile working environment. So you need to understand that it could be either a verbal conduct or it could be a non-verbal conduct, but it affects the very dignity and the freedom of that employee working in the organization. Altogether creates a hostile working environment. Hostile meaning to say an unfriendly working environment where the employee dislikes to work and does not feel safe to work. When I say sexual harassment, you can see in the second paragraph, it could be, as I said, verbal or non-verbal. So the examples could be some suggestive remarks, sexually suggestive remarks that could be passed. It could be any kind of a joke. It could be unwanted touching or pressure for sexual favors. It could be some inappropriate facial expressions, any form of inappropriate gesture, or a rumor, a false rumor or a gossip that has been passed on about the personal life of an employee, about the private life of an employee. So even that constitutes to be a sexual harassment. It has also been observed and it has been noticed that the women at workplace are considered to be the worst sufferers of the same. Sexual harassment at workplace is considered to be a threatening problem basically for the female employees as well. So for the same, in December 2010, the Protection of Women Against Sexual Harassment at Workplace Bill was introduced. It had been introduced wherein it recognized sexual harassment as the threat to women's workplace prospect or creation of hostile environment and seeks to control the occurrence of such act. So because it was really a contemporary issue for the females, for the women working in an organization, this bill had been passed in December 2010, which focused mainly on how to control the occurrence of such act and how to avoid the hostile working environment for the women. But as you can see in the last paragraph, it has been quite wider in its approach because it is not only considering the working women but also the daily wage workers or the research scholars in the universities, colleges, parents in hospitals, etc. So it is wider in its approach and will not be just considering the harassment done towards the working woman. Moving on in the topic, as I also said initially, that sexual harassment actually affects the freedom, the dignity, the self respect of the person to work in an organization. But there are some effects, some psychological effects and adverse consequences of the same in the workplace. So, to understand them, the effects are it could be affecting the work life, the private life, and the privacy of women and men employees because it could be harassment to both men and women. So it will be affecting the life of the employees. It could also affect the working relations and the work related interactions because when you face such a kind of harassment at the workplace, it becomes very difficult to work there. Also, it becomes very difficult to have good communication and interaction with the people working there. It will definitely have an adverse effect on the employee's morale and the motivation. He or she completely gets demotivated to work and the confidence gets down. Ultimately, when the employee's morale is down, he's not able to work willingly for the organization. He's not feeling safe to work. He may tend to absenteeism. There would be increased labor turnover. Ultimately, even the organization suffers with a reduction in productivity. When such things would be opened up in the outside environment, it would have its adverse implication on the corporate reputation as well. That is, the image, the prestige of the company at large will also be affected. It would also affect to the profitability and the market share because when you have employees who are not working diligently, who are not working efficiently, they always are working with a fear or fear of a hostile environment where they are not safe, they cannot interact freely, their confidence level is down, the productivity tends to go down. Ultimately, the profit and the share of the company in the market will come down. So these were different effects of sexual harassment that you can see. Thereafter, you have to study about what could be the measures that could be taken or what preventive steps could be taken in order to avoid sexual harassment at the workplace. As human resource department and as the human resource manager, it is a burning issue and it is a challenging issue for the same. And they have to take proper measures, proper remedial actions have to be taken to avoid the same at the workplace. So to begin with the measures to reduce sexual harassment, number one, you can see the human resource department or the human resource manager can work towards instructing the male employees on how to deal with the co-workers of the opposite sex. It can instruct the male employees as to how they should deal, how they should talk, how they should interact with the other people who are working in the organization. Particularly, we are talking about the female employees as to how should they be dealt with, talked about. So thereafter, it could be educating the employees in the training program as to what constitutes sexual harassment. Now, this is a very important point as a part of training, I can say, because when I explained you the meaning of sexual harassment, it was definitely an unwanted or I can say unwelcomed sexual attention But there are different things that constitutes sexual harassment. It could be a mere staring also, a continuous stare at someone. It could be an inappropriate facial expression also. It could be again some kind of unwanted or inappropriate gestures that a person makes, some kind of gossips or rumors that a person spreads about the private life of an individual at the workplace. It could be passing some comments, or it could be creating some unwanted sounds, hooting, etc. As I said, it could be verbal, it could be physical also. So the employees have to be educated in an organization in the training program as to what constitutes harassment. What are the things that, if they are doing knowingly or unknowingly, could come under the purview of sexual harassment. So that kind of knowledge and education has to be given to the people. Number three, the companies must have a complaint committee, probably could be headed by a woman. Most of the organizations now have a separate committee where they talk on the precaution of sexual harassment, how to prevent the same. So similarly, they can have a complaint committee where an employee, without any fear and without any hesitation, can go and put a complaint if he is facing any form of harassment at the workplace. And it would be advisable if it is headed by a female, headed by a woman. Next is, companies should have a clear policy on sexual harassment and should inform all the employees for the same. That is to say, the companies need to frame a clear cut policy as to, if there is a complaint filed against sexual harassment at the workplace, what actions will be taken against the same. And such a clear cut policy has to be informed to all the employees so that such kind of harassment can be avoided completely at the workplace in the organization. Thereafter, companies can also have the disciplinary actions as to how the actions can be taken and how the discipline can be maintained in an organization. By discipline, we mean an ethical and a friendly atmosphere at the workplace where employees feel free, feel safe to work. They work with self respect and dignity, and they have no impact on their mind, or they don't have any form of stress while working in the organization. So that kind of disciplinary actions can also be taken against anybody who is found guilty for the harassment. Now, after having studied about the effects of sexual harassment, also how the harassment can be prevented or can be reduced, there is again one of the survey that you can see where it says 90% of those who say they have experienced harassment never report it or take formal action. So, the preventive measures or the remedial actions that have been taken by the human resource department or by the human resource manager will be of use only when people who face such things bring it to the notice of the managers or bring it to the notice of the department in the organization. So these things have to be reported, and once reported, the formal actions can be taken by the organization or by the human resource department or the committee that has been set up particularly for the same. So with this, we end today's lecture. Let us have a brief recap of the topics that we have studied for today. So we have gone through with the topic of introduction of HRM. We have understood the definition of HRM. We have also understood about the objectives of HRM. And out of the contemporary issues, we have studied the first issue, that was on sexual harassment of the employees at the workplace. With this, I end today's lecture. We would be studying the other issues in the coming lectures. And if you have any sort of doubts pertaining to today's topic, you can put it, you can comment down in the Google Classroom of your respective class, and I shall be answering same at the earliest as soon as possible. See you soon in the next lecture with another online class where we go further with the unit and study different other issues of human resource management. Until then, keep learning. Thank you so much.